Hello, come on in. Hi there. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate you coming in to my live chat tonight. Just getting everything set up. Yep. We're good to go. Hey, Blessed Two. Thank you for being here. See what else we got going on. Good evening, Denise. Hi, Shawana. How are you guys doing? Oh, I'm glad you like the pain cream. It has outsold the, used to be the #1 product, which was the hair growth promoter. The pain cream won it. The #1 spot. Yep, I'm glad it's helping a lot of people. Hi, Maureen. How you doing? Hi, Andrea Lucas from Tacoma, Washington. Thank you for being here. Hello, A. Fisher Frontier Farms from Jamaica. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much. Miss Quinny is here. Karen Witherspoon is here. I think I spoke to Andrea Lucas already. I think I did. No, I didn't. Thank you for being here, Andrea. Gardner 99 is in the house. Okay, I need a little water. Ray Brace is in the house. Myra McCain, thank you for being here. From New Jersey, Antia is in the house. The Sweet Spot, how you doing, The Sweet Spot? All right. Dan's Permaculture Food Forest is in the house. I just watched your video. I think it was earlier today on Karabi, and decided to take a little hiatus from YouTube. I understand. It can, when you have a family and everything, it's a job. It can be kind of hard. Hey, Joy from Gardening and Cocktails with Joy. Thank you all for being here. I'm just gonna keep speaking to folks for about 1 more minute, and then I'm gonna jump in with the topics of discussion that I got from my email questions. Veggie Farm Garden, I love the title of your name. I really, since last year, 2020, been planning a lot of things that are very helpful to your health. So I like that Veggie Farm. That could be like FARM or pharmaceutical, like plants and herbs, that type of thing that can help you with your health. That's what I get from your name. Okay. Go back and make sure I didn't miss anybody. Got to have my paper towel. For the perspiration. Hi, Erica Jones. How you doing? Hi, Andale, Homestead in the Colony. Very happy to see you too. So good, Gardner. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Okay, it's 7:05. So let's get it started. The first thing I want to talk about, the first question I want to address is what can we do, what we can do to help keep mosquitoes off of us. Well, in my insect and repellent playlist, I grouped a lot of things that I do to keep insects off of your plants, to repel them, what I plant to repel them. For example, I plant marigolds and society garlic to keep a lot of insects away from my plants, tomatoes, peppers, basil, that type of thing. Basil, rosemary would help too. But if you look real close, you'll see that some garden insects will eat that basil up. So it's not always true that it will keep or repel insects. So the main things that I plant, I think, to repel insects in my garden, which I know for my garden, is marigolds. And as I said, society garlic. Now, there's one little tricky, little nasty, little small pest called whiteflies that will go inside the little marigold bush or plant, because some of them will get pretty big, okay? And I find that whiteflies will go inside of there when it's raining and everything like that, because they multiply fast, especially in damp conditions. So be careful about that as far as your marigolds are concerned. Hi, Susie Peterson. Good to see you. I had a wonderful Mother's Day, very restful. And the other thing I was getting ready to talk about was to keep the mosquitoes away from you. Now, I shared this in that playlist, and I've shared it for several years. Here is a generic mouthwash. You can use a name brand if you like, but you can save money getting the inexpensive one because it works just the same. And I take equal parts of water and this mouthwash, and I put it into a spray bottle. And you can see it says mosquito spray for my grandkids. And you could put any essential oil that you know repel insects. I know that lemongrass does. Lavender repels insects. I wrote some other ones down for you. Basil, thyme, eucalyptus, peppermint, lemon, and of course, centrola. So if you have any one of those essential oils, not synthetic smelling oils, the real McCoy, you just add a few drops of it in here. And I always take this with me when I go camping with my children because I love nature, and my boys especially, they love to go camping. And we went last year, even during the pandemic, because it was safe because we were just among ourselves and it was outside. But this, if you spray this on yourself and your clothing and your hat, I spray it all over my little grand angels when we go out and work. For example, Brian and Bria really helped me a lot this past Saturday. And I edited that video it was over an hour long. And anybody like Andale who works with children and incorporate them in your videos, it's hard to do that. And you have to have a lot of patience. And so they worked real hard, and they helped me a lot, and I had about an hour worth of footage, and I chopped it down to about 25 minutes. But throughout that whole time that they were out there, they didn't get any mosquito bites because of this repellent that I made. Again, I'm going to repeat, it's in my playlist, but if you want to go back and watch the replay, you can use any inexpensive generic mouthwash or the real McCoy if you want to. Half and half in a spray bottle with water, equal parts, and then your favorite essential oil. I like to add lemongrass and peppermint and lavender, okay? Because those essential oils smell good together. Lemongrass and lavender smells awesome. I even have a candle in my natural products for your hair, skin, and your spirit. The candles being to lighten your mood. I use lavender, lemongrass, and hibiscus, and that makes you real calm. But if you are a person that gets a little, a little anxious, I don't say anxiety attack, but a little anxious or a little nervous, lavender by itself is a wonderful scent that you can light that candle or put the oil on your wrist and your temples, and it will calm you down. I'm not telling you what I think, I'm telling you what I know. So if you want to, and I advise everybody to, don't take what Lady Cheryl says as scripture, go and do your research. You'll find that you're having breathing problems, peppermint is good. And it's also good for mosquitoes. And let's see what else I was going to tell you about. I do have eucalyptus for you have a lot of congestion. Peppermint is more for like a cough. Stay away from it if you're in your first trimester of pregnancy. But all of those things work. Now I'm going to get your questions in all caps. Tia's going to remind you. I think she already said it. I'm going to get your questions after each break over the questions that people email me and ask me about. Somebody sent me an email about 6:45 or whatever. It's too late. I'll get into that. You know who you are. I'll talk about it next week, okay? All right. Remember, I'm here to inform, to motivate and educate. That's my whole purpose of being here. But I'm not a master gardener. I never professed to be one. But I know a lot about gardening. I know a lot about hair care and skin care because that's what I did for a living. Okay, before I retired. I have 40 years experience, and I have 30 years experience growing right outside my patio doors because that's how long I've been in my home. Last April, was the anniversary, 30 years that my husband and I bought this house. So, and I've always had a garden, even before moving here. Okay, so now let's go on and talk about hibiscus tea. Because I put a little short video on just to motivate, to inspire, and to educate, like I said, those of you that I sent hibiscus seeds to. You sent me the postage, I sent you the seeds free. Some of you had an easy time germinating them because you were patient, and some of you had a difficult time. And I'm not saying you weren't patient. Maybe the environment wasn't right. Maybe it was too cold. Maybe they didn't get water enough. I don't know what the situation was, but the majority of you all, I'm pleased to announce, did get some of the seeds to germinate, and you have established plants. And so that video that I did this morning, I think I did it yesterday, but I think I posted it this morning. I made it while it was drizzling outside. And I just wanted to share with you, even if you only get one plant out of the seeds that you started, it's enough. Because that one plant, once it is established, year after year, it will multiply. When I first started seeing the hibiscus come alive in my sea of mint, a bed that I had established just for tea, I only saw 4. And you all seen how many I counted the other day. So if you just get one plant, relax. It's going to take you 2 to 3 years. You can keep them in containers and bring them inside if you live in a cold climate, past or under, I should say, zone 8. You might want to bring them in. Or if you have a greenhouse, you could put them in your greenhouse or your garage. But they will go into hibernation, like most perennials, and they will come back. The hibiscus like a warmer weather, so it doesn't appear in my zone 8A, Mesquite, Texas, until May. But don't worry, they will come back, okay? And the first few years, you may only get 1 or 2 seed pods. But after that, you'll get a lot of seed pods. I had hundreds of seed pods this time, but I didn't send them all out because a lot of them got wet and I didn't want to take that chance. But the majority of you, like I said, did very well with your germination. And I don't want to get all into that because I did a series on that, how to put them on the heat map, blah, 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 blah. Okay, but the main thing was you have to keep them moist. Okay. Yes, that was a lot of plants from one plant gardening with Bernie. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm going to go back and see if I have any questions about mosquito repellents and Texas Star Hibiscus. Okay, and I don't see anything. Until let me know that her husband is expanding the garden as we speak. I am so excited. That is wonderful. My sister and I are both widows. We married 2 cousins. And she lives in Indiana. That's where I'm originally from, if I haven't told you all that. And now that she is retired, we talk so much on the phone. Sometimes it's crazy stuff that we talk about. But we know that if our husbands were alive, a lot of the stuff that we have to do now, we wouldn't have to do because they did it all. I just learned how to, in the last few years, how to use all kind of tools. And I bought a lot of tools that, my husband was a chef and a carpenter. But so if you've got somebody like Auntie just mentioned that her husband is helping her to expand the garden, that's a good thing. Treat them real sweet, because everybody doesn't have that. Okay? All right. Okay. Do you plant nasturtiums? Susie, I do. I didn't plant any this year. I'm going to tell you why. I was going to plant some nasturtiums, and then we had the polar Arctic freeze in February, and I said, that's it. I'm not going to start any more seeds, because I had like over 250 plants. And that was a very difficult time for me to keep those seedlings alive when we were out power. 14 hours one time, 12 hours the other time. It was more than the 26 hours combined, because then it would come on and go off, come on and go off. And so I didn't want to take any risk, and I said, that's it. That's all I'm going to grow, and everything else I would try to find on sale. And unfortunately for me, in my area, nasturtiums don't have a good shelf life in nurseries, so you can hardly find them. So I'm not planting any of them this year. Very good question. Okay. Okay. Yeah, you're going to love the mosquito spray. Because usually, if I don't put that on them, Bria is, real dramatic, like her mother and me. And she's like, the mosquitoes is eating me up. Mosquitoes eating me. She didn't even do that, not one time, because I coated them really, really well. Do you spray that mix on your skin or on your clothing? Good question, So Good Gardener. You can spray it. I tell people to put their hands over their eyes, especially little children, but it won't harm your skin. But basically, I put it all over, except my face. But on the little ones, I will. Because you can see a mosquito just come and land on them. And, so it won't hurt them. But that was an excellent question. Thank you so much for asking that. Susan wants to know, can your hibiscus tea become too old to be effective? I don't think so, because it's dehydrated. And most herbs... Don't quote me on this, but I saw a video saying that they can be good for 15 years. Herbs don't last me that long. I give them away after, to keep from having them over 2 or 3 years. But I do know they have a long shelf life. So I assume that hibiscus will be the same way. I start giving it away if I have some more than 2 years. I give a lot of my hibiscus tea away. Okay? All right. Okay, let me get the next question. Oh, by the way, if you want to know what I fertilize the hibiscus with, you're not going to believe this, but it's the truth. Either nothing or a little bit of Comfrey tea when I'm doing everything in the garden. Okay? That's what I love about it. You don't have to spend any extra money on here. Just got in. What is your mosquito spray? Are you selling? No, I'm not selling it. You could go back and watch the replay. because I mentioned it twice already. I want to move on for the sake of time, Joyce. It's very easy, okay? All right. Let me see if there are any more questions. If it's not, I'll go back and repeat it real quick. Lucky for you, Joyce, it is a generic mouthwash, equal portions in a spray bottle with water. And then you add your favorite essential oils that repel insects. And I gave the list out here. I know it's lemongrass, lavender, basil, thyme, eucalyptus. Where is it? Peppermint, and centrola. And some people call centrola the mosquito plant. Okay. I see your question, Donnie, and the answer is no. Borage is supposed to be, she wants to know, guys, do you use borage the same way you do comfrey to ferment to make a tea? The answer is no. I'm not saying that you can't, but comfrey Russian blocking 14, out of all of the plants God created, has the most nutrients in it that you can use for tea. It even has vitamin B, and a lot of plants don't have that. So it's a really even all-purpose liquid fertilizer, or you can just chop and drop. Well, I'm gonna try my best to do a live while I'm walking around outside, so you can physically see how much comfrey that I have. And before somebody asks me, no, I don't sell it. The reason why I don't sell it is because I'm trying to get comfrey around all of my trees. So when I propagate it, I put it around my trees that are in the ground. Okay? But growing with Donnie, I imagine you can use borage just like you do weed tea, grass clippings, hedge trimmings. I don't see why it wouldn't help. Okay? I hope I answered your question. Now I'm going to move on to something that is affecting us all. And right now, I want to say that you all that are in flood areas like me in North Texas, we're going to have continuous rain until next Sunday. And we already had a lot of rain. This is our rainy season, okay? And because I know that, and because, like I told you guys, that I've been growing in the same area for 30 years, there are some preventative things that we can do. For example, I don't know if it was the Holy Spirit or what, but I just had a feeling after we got that real bad winter that freeze to 3 degrees, I didn't plant hardly anything in containers this year. I don't know. I just thought it was going to be a real bad spring with the rain, and so I basically planted almost all of my food except herbs into the raised garden beds, and I already have in my driveway with a tarp covered over it center blocks that I ordered last month that I haven't gotten around to it yet, where I'm going to redo my garden beds in the fall, and I'm going to make them 2 center blocks high so that they can drain even more. Because what we are fighting now in my area and a lot of areas across the country, and I'm praying for the people in the vicinity of Louisiana where that tornado watch is. Peanut Pepper, I know, has a lot of water, standing water. We get a lot of water too, and we get standing water, but not like Louisiana. But we are under a Red River flood. There are bodies of water around where I live in this suburb. So the main thing that we deal with is too much water, and it causes root rot. So what I do to avoid some of the root rot, you can't avoid all of it, is how I grow. And so I don't grow anything directly into the ground unless it's a fruit tree, vine, or a bush that can handle water, a lot of water. For example, the bananas can take a lot of water, banana plants. Peach trees cannot handle wet feet. Cherry trees cannot handle wet feet. So those trees are in raised beds so that the water can drain and go down in the earth. And anytime it stopped raining and we see the sun come out, we're saying, thank you, Jesus. See, I don't pray for the rain to stop. I pray for sunshine. So if we can get some sunshine in between all of that rain, it'll help facilitate that drainage and drying out the surface so that your plants don't get root rot. Another thing that I do in this time of year, I plant a lot of tomatoes. And I plant my tomatoes. You guys know, you've seen my videos. I've been doing it for years. I plant them horizontally. I'm trying to find something that I can bend. Maybe this paper towel. This is my tomato plant. I bend my tomato plant and plant it almost on the surface, only about 3 or 4 inches down deep, and let them spread out horizontally instead of going straight down deep. That's why I didn't put any tomatoes in containers this year, because I had a feeling after that last freeze. I don't know, we were raised like that. If you have a bad winter, you're going to have a bad spring or a hot summer. So that's why I didn't plant any tomatoes in the containers, the 5-gallon buckets this year. I bent them, and I have videos on it. Okay? And somebody in my Facebook group posted a picture, and they were demonstrating how somebody was saying that's a good way to plant tomatoes. I promise you all, I've never seen that before. I'm one of those people, and I know for a fact Dan Permaculture Food Forest does the same thing. We experiment. So since I knew that the stem of the tomato plant, you know, you see the little fuzzy peach fuzz all along, and then it turns into like little knots as it gets older or more mature. I knew that those roots were capable of making all along that stem. So I said, my beds are no more than 11 inches tall. I wonder what'll happen if I do that. So bend them. And so I did that probably about 5 or 6 years ago, and all of them grew successfully. So now I do it all the time. And I was watching somebody's video. Can't remember the name right now. I can see her sweet little face. I think it's Tiny Texas Garden. And she was getting ready to bury her tomatoes or transplant them. And in my head I went, oh, I hope she planted horizontal, because that soil line surface didn't look that deep. And she did it. And if it wasn't her, it was someone else. But anyway, so that's why I plant my tomatoes horizontal, because I know that I can bend them and they won't be that down deep in the soil where they're going to be swimming in all this water that we're getting. Okay? So we're already over the amount of water that we're supposed to get for the year. Okay? So that's another reason, because I know those roots can take hold. It doesn't matter how deep down I go, as long as they got enough room to spread out. All right. That's one thing that I do for root rot. The other thing I do is I have garden boxes or grow boxes. They used to be self-watering, but I took that mechanism out and drill holes all the way around it. So I go out every day when there was a break in the rain, and I go and I check my boxes to see if they're draining. And you guys know, anything that is elevated and lifted up, the water will come out faster, as opposed to you having just landed on the ground. It has nowhere to go. It can drain, but not as fast. So that's another reason why I have those platforms with the sawhorses and the discounted wood that I get to put on them, so I don't have to bend over, right? Because I'm closer to 70 now than I am to 60. So I don't have to bend over, and also so that they can drain. And I just put a board of plyboard or plywood or whatever you want to call it right across there. made the wood in at least 3 sections so there could be cracks in the wood so that the water can go down on the ground and it wouldn't warp the wood. Now, did somebody tell me to do that? No. My husband was a carpenter. My brother is, but he's retired, a subcontractor when he contracted people out to do things. So certain things that you have experience in, don't be afraid to try it. Because I never saw nobody with the horses. I saw somebody do it with concrete bricks and put the, in the hole, turn the brick this way, the block, center block, and put the wood there like that. And I said, well, why can't I just put it on top of a sawhorse? And it worked. Okay? All right. So we just try to experiment. And when I do that and I learn something that I think I can pass on to you guys, that's why I'm here. And I always tell you, don't take what I say as gospel. Take it as some motivation or some inspiration and research it yourself. Okay, so I'm going to stop right now. I talked about growing the roots horizontally. This is my other monitor here, so if you see me switching back and forth, my son-in-law hooked me up where I can do a lot of my orders and stuff without having to stop and copy and paste so much. Okay, so I answered hibiscus tea. I answered essential oils that repel. We talked about root rot and burying tomatoes horizontally. Before anybody asks, don't do that with peppers. You bury a pepper too deep, it won't create roots. You will be adding to the problem and making root rot. Okay? All right. Now, I'm ready for some questions. I did the insect spray. Let me share this with you, and then I'm going to take questions. You all remember me putting the insect netting? I use this aluminum garbage can that I have in my grow room, and I put my white insect netting. I put it all over my strawberries with my little clips. I put it on my Swiss chard. I put it on all of my beans. And when I knew we were going to get all that rain, I took it off, and I just let it flip over on one side, right? And I have these little hoops that I clip them to. Well, it's squashed down a lot of those plants, and they take it off now, guys. It's like they broke out of jail. The beans got the beginning of little flowers on them where we're going to have beans in a couple of weeks, okay? But I did that because the plants were vulnerable. And what I mean by that is you need to protect a young seedling more than you have more than an established plant. So, you know, we have those little nasty, beigey, off-white little moths that lay aphid eggs. And they love beans, they love okra, and they love watermelon, cantaloupe, any of those type of plants, dining plants, cucumbers, that type of stuff. But as they get older, they can handle the aphids a little bit better. They're sucking the life out of the leaves. So that's why I took them off. And so what I use in between the days when it's not raining, I haven't been able to do it too much, is in my playlist. It is the garlic, onion that I steep and ferment for 2 weeks. Then I add red pepper flakes and boil it for about a half an hour. I strain it really well because these bottles that I get off of Amazon, they'll clog up real easy if you don't strain it. So take you a steel mesh strainer and then you spray all of that. That's why I kept spraying on the top of the insect netting. Now I'm just spraying it directly on, but I can't do it a lot right now because the rain, it keeps washing it off. But when it gets drier, and I recommend that you use diatomaceous earth. Now, just keep in mind that you want to use food grade, so it won't hurt your plants. Diatomaceous earth. This is a 5-pound bag. You can get it on eBay or Amazon, and this lasts me a couple years because I take it and I put it in like a salt shaker, and I just spray and sprinkle. Once it gets wet, it is not effective. Okay? All right. Okay, I'm ready for questions. I'm ready for questions. Are you ready to fall in love with me? Okay. I'm going back to the borage question. Comfrey. Here we go. Erica Jones wants to know, my comfrey plant is flowering. How do you keep it from going to seed? You don't. It attracts all kind of bees, butterflies, pollinators, wasps, everything. You don't worry about it going to seed. The seeds will not germinate. Russian comfrey can only be planted. Am I talking too loud? This fan is on. I get excited. Russian comfrey can only be planted or grown from a cutting. So the seeds won't make it be ineffective. It won't do anything but bring pollinators to the yard, okay? So don't worry about it. It's never going to stop. The only way it'll stop growing is when it was so cold, when it was 3 degrees. And as soon as the temperature rose, it started coming back again. Usually I have comfrey all winter long. Okay, next question. Growing with Donnie said we have a lot of clouds that just rolled in. Not as much actual rain predicted, though. Okay, good for you. Good for you. And the tomato hitting the same spot twice. I don't know what you're saying there. If you're saying, did you rotate your crops? Let me put it to you this way. I don't grow tomatoes where I live past June. It's usually the second week of June. They're running a little bit later, so it's going to be the third or the fourth week. Once that temperature hits 85, I know that that plant will not flower, meaning it's not going to produce any more new tomatoes. So all you want to do is concentrate on growing the tomatoes larger that you already have there. Now, some people that have a lot of room, they will baby their plants, and I put shade cloths on it, blah, blah, blah. And then when it gets September, it'll cool off and they'll start growing. Or they can do what I used to do. I used to clone the tomatoes. I would cut the suckers off in July, probably June, and bring them in the house and root them in water. I don't do that anymore. I just start over with new seeds. Okay, so once my tomatoes do everything that they want to do, then I put other crops in that spot. So I rotate them that way because I don't grow them all through the season. And once you've been in your area for a while, you'll know what you can do. You can do the same thing actually with a container. You just need to refresh the soil with some homemade compost, preferably. Last year when I did my emergency garden, I kind of ran out of all homemade compost, so I started using black cow. But this year I'll have compost that'll be aged enough for me to use in summertime for my next crop. And you could put soil amendments. You could put in what you saw me and my little grandchildren doing Saturday. I put azomite rock dust. I buy it by the 44-pound bag. I also add worm castings, and in the blueberries, we added a soil acidifier. But usually, I would add azomite rock dust, worm castings, and at one time, I was adding biochar and mycorrhizal fungi. I don't do it anymore because I can dig that up in the wood chips. I'm going to tell you something else about the wood chips. Okay, so I hope I answered your question. Let's go. Thank you, Donnie, for saying the information was good. Okay. Tornado warning where Susie is. Okay, Susie, if you got to go, we understand. And guys, if it cuts out here, I certainly get another tornado warning where, we just will act accordingly. Hey, I see somebody speaking to Angie or Angela Bowden. I didn't speak to you earlier. Tommy Homestead is in the house. And I just want to shout out Tommy. Tommy is one of the hardest working women in this gardening community. I admire you, Tommy, and I'm not just saying this because you are a moderator. Because you all know I call out people who are not moderators. This lady has to move, probably in less than 50 days now, because that was about a week or two when she announced it. And ain't nothing stopping her. She's making preparations for the move by potting up things, still buying food on sale, still doing her reserve pantry for emergency. I just admire her. She goes to all the little areas, big box stores, and get those bags of soil that are busted and get it for a discount, and things that she have to pay full price for, she paid full price for it. But I mean, she's very, very smart. And I advise all of you all to go and check out her channel. And let me tell you something. I don't shout out people because I want to get people in a clique. That ain't me. I told you last week I'll never have 100,000 channel because I tell the truth. I don't have no paid sponsors or people that send me stuff and I've got to do a video to shout out their product. I turn people down because if you tell me I got to say something nice about your product before I even try it, you lost me because I have integrity. So what if I try your product and then I don't like it? No, I'm not signing no contract. So I don't shout out people for cliquish reasons. I shout out people who I genuinely think are doing something to help themselves and our gardening community. And I mean that from my heart. And why I'm saying this, let me just say here, if you're in here to cause controversy, ask me questions that I may have a different answer than another gardener, please don't. Because I'm not going to fall for it anymore. I kind of know. I'm going to leave it alone. I'm just going to say I'm going to speak the honest God truth. And if I think it's a setup question, I'm not going to answer it. Okay? I'm not crying. It's just allergies. No, I'm serious. Okay. All right. Love Lady Gardening is in the house. Thank you for being here. Who is that? Renee's Garden. She was buying a whole lot of soil that was damaged, busted bags. And I liked how Tommy gave her props and said, yeah, girl, you doing it. You know, see, when you're knowledgeable and you're confident in what you're doing, you don't have to put other people down. We need to lift people up. We don't need to tear people down. That's not how we get our blessings. Okay? All right. That's it. I'm not going to talk about it no more. No more. Hey, Crystal's in the house. Garden with Bernie. I just mentioned, was that? No, I mentioned Renee. That was Renee with the busted bags. Hey, the sweet spot. Hi, Cheryl. Nice to see you. Boy, I love your landscaping. I would give anything, I wouldn't give anything, but I would love to have some more character. But we work with what we have, right? Okay. All right, I'm looking for a question. I'm in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The rain is so bad. Hey, Eartha Dominique, I have already prayed for you guys. I'm telling you, peanut peppers is the one that has been keeping everybody in that area abreast through the weather, and I know it's bad. I know it's bad, but it's going to get better, okay? It's going to get better. So Hands in the Dirt is speaking to everybody. Thank you so much. Oh, wow. Yeah, Gardener 99. Some of the tomatoes are cracking from too much rain. Yeah, that happens. That happens a lot. Yeah. If they're small, you could try to put some kind of container or something over it. You could rig like a tarp with clips onto a T-post. But you're going to lose some. I know I'm going to lose some too. Because my plants are loaded with tomatoes. Because, I start from seeds the first week in January. So I have lots of tomatoes out there. Guys, we got to take the good with the bad. Okay? Not to downplay anything, because it hurts. I'm still feeling a little sad, not depressed or anything, about all the trees that I lost during the freeze. But you know what? You got to think about the positive. I had 8 apple trees. I have 5 left. So I got to think, okay, God, thank you. You could have took them all out. I got 5. You know what I'm saying? You got to look at it like that. And I lost 2 improved Meyer lemons, 2 Mexican key limes, but I was blessed enough to be able to buy another lemon tree and a grapefruit tree and another satsuma. So you got to look at it like that, okay? Because it could always be worse. Okay, I hope I don't sound too preachy, but oh well, this is me. It's just, I got to be me. So Gardener 99, I hope you don't lose a lot of tomatoes. I really do. But I'm trying to say this in the nicest way I know how. We have to plant not just what we need, but beyond what we need, because we got to share. Some we're going to lose to the elements, the rain, the wind. How many of you all have your branches to break off on your tomato plants like me? It happens. So you got to always plant a little bit more, because the elements, and then we have the little critters that are going to try to come in. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. I got some little stuff here. I'm going to talk to you about fertilization and critters. So we have to outweigh the good will outweigh the bad, and know that you got to share a little bit. Okay, so Tommy, Yankee Sister posted a question. Okay, let me see if I can find it. Yankee Sister. I'm looking for Yankee Sister, and then I'm going to start talking about little pests in the garden. If somebody, the moderators, would copy her question again for me, then I can get it. But I'll take 2 abundant acres. Hi, Lady Cheryl. Is the free wood chip delivery good enough for mulching vegetable beds? Okay, I'm glad you asked that question. I don't use it in my vegetable beds. I'm going to tell you why. Because I don't know where it came from. I don't know if it's got poison ivy. Was it a diseased tree? But I do put it around my trees, but not at the bark of the trunk. But I never put it inside of my vegetable beds. I use leaves for that. But I will use wood chips. If you looked at my last video that me, Bria, and Brian did, I chipped up branches of my Cicera magnolia tree that is very healthy. So I knew the source of those wood chips, and I put them inside of my blueberry containers. And I have another box. In fact, it's right up under my dining room table where I'm sitting, because I didn't want it to get wet outside and the cover is off the greenhouse. And I just haven't moved it. But, so the answer to your question would be, I would never put wood chips from a free source that you don't know where they came from. That's my answer. Now, I'm not saying people that do that are wrong. I'm giving you my opinion, okay? I use leaves for my garden beds. Does that make sense? Okay. And after working with Bria and Brian, I've decided that I'm not even going to get any more wood chips from chipdrop.com. I'm not going to need it. All the trimming and pruning that I'm going to have to do to keep my trees, the majority of them small, I will have to make my own wood chips. Okay. Yankee Sister, they don't see it, so you need to post it again. Tia doesn't see it, or Tommy. Okay, here's one from Andale until we get yours. Yankee Sister, because I will answer you, sweetie. Why do people top their pepper plants? We have small pepper plants and baby peppers coming. Is it too late to top? No, it's not. Take about 4 to 5 inches off. I have a video on it if you want to look in the playlist on tomatoes and peppers. The reason why they top them off in is to make them bushier. And when they're bushier, they will produce more peppers. And they can hold and accommodate the weight of the peppers. But if you don't top them off, they just grow tall and lanky. And they won't produce as many. And I remember saying something. I said, in my emergency garden when I was giving away food last summer and fall, spring, I said, I don't think I'm going to top these peppers off because I'm just trying to get this food in a hurry to people. And I'll never forget it. Dan's Permaculture Food Forest said, no, you should go ahead and top them off. You are the one that taught me how to top them off. You're going to be able to produce more peppers and give away more food. And he was right. So I do it every time. Okay, Ann, I hope I asked your question. It is not too late. In fact, when I have little baby peppers on and the plant is not big, I pinch those off either. Anyway, I do the same thing with tomatoes. Because you want your plant to concentrate on growing vigorous roots and putting off branches that can accommodate a lot of peppers. I wouldn't have a little lanky plant with one big pepper on it. Does that make sense? I hope so. Okay, it's not too late to top peppers. Here's Susie. I just ordered some organic comfrey seeds. Is it too late to plant in zone AB? No, it's not, but it's not the one that I recommend. Russian blocking 14 comfrey cannot be grown by seeds. It has to be propagated from a cutting. You can get it from Amazon, eBay, or Etsy. Okay? Okay, I've been using the earth on my plants. I don't understand, Andrea Lucas. I think you... Oh, diatomaceous earth? That's probably what you're saying. DE. If that's it, that's fine. Do you have this is Gardening with Bernie. Do you have a site that you would recommend that I get some Texas Star Hibiscus? Yes, eBay. Just look, I don't recommend any merchant because you may have a good experience and I may have a bad one or vice versa. So I don't recommend merchants. But go on eBay and they have little seedlings and you can purchase them. What I tell you to do is because eBay is a subsidiary of PayPal and they don't play. They put the ratings of the merchants. You'll know how long they've been in business, how many complaints they got, a percentage of, reviews. And they have the majority of them have a return policy or money back policy, or you can file a claim with PayPal. So just look and try to find somebody that has at least 96, 97% positive. I buy a lot of stuff off eBay. I bought since the pandemic, but in the past I have. For example, my brown turkey fig trees, I bought them as cuttings off of eBay. My Thompson seedless grapes, the ones that are going crazy after 4 years trying to produce, and I'll chop them up and they still keep growing and coming back. I bought them off of eBay. They were like this big, a pencil-sized cutting, and I rooted them. So, yeah, you can get a lot of good stuff off of eBay. Just be careful. Okay, at home with Cheryl. How soon do you fertilize your fruit trees after planting? Okay, this is one of those controversial things. I don't put no fertilizer on the fruit tree right after I plant it. It depends on what it is. For example, peach trees, we talked about it last week. It only needs fertilization twice a year. So you want to let it get adjusted. You took it from a different environment. They were in shock. And then you put them in another place. And then you slap fertilizer in there. I killed fruit trees doing that. So that's why I recommend things. I don't tell you about what I think. I'm telling you what I know from experience. I made my trees get blight by giving them too much. I put those Job organic stakes in there. See, this is why I'll never have a big channel, because the advertiser's not going to like me, because I'm just going to call it like I see it. And I put those organic stakes in there, and the NPK was too high for those little baby fruit trees, and some of them died. Some of them got blight, that type of thing. So I wouldn't recommend, unless you put something like this. This is, make sure it don't leak out. This is used coffee grounds, slushed up banana peels and eggshells that I rinse with hot water and then zapped in the microwave for a minute to make sure I don't get any, what is it, E. coli? Or is it salmonella? E. coli. No, salmonella. One of those. And then I run it through I got a commercial blender. Okay, and then when I get ready to put it on around the trees, I do it when it's not wet. Okay, so I got one of these jars for every one of my trees. And as soon as we get a break in the weather where it's not going to rain for a week, then they'll get it. And I don't put it, Cherie, right there in the middle, close to the bark. I put it on the outskirts. You guys remember the tree skirt that I bought to keep the weeds out of those 2 apple trees? I'll put it around the outside perimeter of that, okay? So that the trees can reach for it. Believe it or not, the roots talk to each other. If you just keep feeding them right in that one spot, they're not going to expand. I read this and saw this in an article, and it makes sense. If you make them have to reach for that water, that's why you shouldn't water a tree every day. Give it just a little water, little water. But the roots are going to stop and stay right there at the surface because they're not going to stretch. That's why you don't never have to give, you never have to give a persimmon tree, for a second. Because they have that top root that goes way down in the earth and get nutrients that most other trees can't touch. The same thing with the young lady asked me about the seeds in the comfrey. The Russian blocking 14 comfrey has a long tap root that goes way down to pull up nutrients that the other comfrey can't get. Okay? Moringa has a real deep tap root. Okay? And there's some other trees. So I don't give my trees any fertilizer in the beginning. I give them something organic. I may give them a little worm castings, azomite rock dust, mycorrhizal fungi, that type of thing, but not fertilizer. And then later, and I've seen some people put chicken poop in there because it's not considered a hot fertilizer in this at the age. Rabbit, I'm trying to think of something else, but that all depends on you. And also, it would depend on how old that tree is. Is it a little sapling? Or is it a big tree, more established tree? Okay? But I do give my citrus trees an organic citrus fertilizer if the tree is 2 or 3 years old because they have real shallow roots. Feeder roots that'll be real close on the surface. So I do give them a little organic, okay, fertilizer. I hope I answered your question. Okay, so here's the next question. Crystal, pets and plants. And guys, she has the cutest little animals and critters and every little insect. I mean, it's just amazing. Brian used to run to watch Crystal when I had him. Last year, I would pick him up from school, and then his father would pick him up about an hour later, and we'll watch Crystal's videos together. She have guinea pigs and just the cutest little stuff. Go check her out. Crystal's Pets and Plants. She says, can I overwinter my pepper plants inside for the winter? You most certainly can. Back off, cut them down to about 2 feet. Don't back off, don't fertilize them. Give them about a half a cup of water every few weeks, maybe once a month when they look like they're starving. Okay? Then put them out in the spring. But I'm going to tell you, that's something else that I lost in the freeze. I don't want to keep harping on it, but I had a 5-year-old plant, a 2-year-old pepper plant, 5-year-old pepper plant, 2-year-old pepper plant, and a whole pepper place, a whole row that the freeze took out. So I don't know if I want to go through that again. I don't know, because I don't know if that's going to happen again or not. But Susie says she bought true comfrey seeds. Very good, Susie. But true comfrey seeds are not Russian 14 blocking. Vicki Owens, thank you for the tips and recommendations, Lady Cheryl. I prune lower leaves on all my tomatoes. Oh, yes, you're going to see a big difference, Vicki, because I go out there every chance I get when it stops raining and walk around to see if I see any yellowing. And if I see some yellowing, I'm bending it over and I'm cutting it off because it spreads. Okay, Tommy is. I can't believe all she is doing while in the midst of... Yes, Cherie. Those of us women that have families, that have children, that have moved before, we know what she's going through. Tommy is doing a life-changing thing, moving. And that's a lot when you have a big garden. But it's not stopping her. She is very strong. And she had surgery. I think it was carpal tunnel a month or so ago. Yes. Even Yankee's sister saying she's a trooper. And the girlie saying, oh, yeah, she called me lying. Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad you're here, girlie, the girlie. Tommy said I'm about to make her cry. Yeah, I'm crying for you, girl. I've moved a lot, and I know what it's like. So as you get older, you know, and you be more established, you're going to stay in the same house. My daughter told me I got 3 more years to live in this house, and then I'm coming to live with her. Ain't that a blip? You tell me what I'm going to do. Can y'all see me without my food forest, please? I live in a 1-story house. I don't have to go up steps, down steps. I'm okay. I'll be all right. I'm staying where I am. Tommy's home estate is the best. Yes, she is. Okay, good for you. That's what I like about you, Lady Cheryl. I don't know what you like. Oh, me telling the truth? I'm keeping it real. Hi, Mary Campbell. Good for you. Glad you're here. Thank you so much. Debbie Epps is in the house. She's in my Facebook group. And she is one of the people that I consider an expert. I gave her that title. I don't know if you all know that. If you all don't have your Facebook group, get one. Start your own Facebook group. Tommy, I encourage you to do that. Start your own Facebook group. And some other people in here, start your own Facebook group and build up your little circle. See, I don't want to have no 800 people in the Facebook group. 300 to 400 is enough where I can really monitor it and really help somebody. And now Facebook allows you to name some experts in your group. And so the reason why I got on that, Debbie Epps is one of those people that I think should be making more videos. I think she should have a YouTube channel. And I think that she should have her own group. And I would participate in her group. Okay. Oh, somebody gave me a little something. Thank you. Okay. Hey, Mary Campbell. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, somebody said they whole new 1501. Girl, that's my address, 1501, but I don't give you the address, but those are my street numbers. I received my order last week. The paint ointment is wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Who knew? I appreciate you. How do you deal with slugs in your garden? Lioncrest, thank you for being here. Next time, put your question in all caps so I can see you, but I just happened to see that one. I use beer. And last year during the pandemic, I didn't get any beer. I don't go in the liquor stores. I mean, well, now in Mosquito, you can go into 7-Eleven or whatever. I don't go in and buy liquor. I'm old school. My husband bought it, bought us wine or whatever. And so my sons would do it for me now. But during the pandemic, I didn't want nobody to come to my house. So I'm just going to be honest with you. I Googled what's in the beer that traps the slugs. And it was yeast. So I took yeast, sugar, and water and made my slug do-it fluid. And I put it in a tuna fish can, and I have some slug traps that I bought for $1.99 on eBay that are now $10.99. So you can just take a tuna fish can, push it down in the soil, put your beer in there or the juice that I just mentioned. The bugs, slugs, and snails are attracted to the smell of the yeast. And you can use wine too, cheap wine. And they get in there and they get drunk and they drown. And every morning or every night you can go out there and pick them up. They're kind of slimy though. Or pour them out and put more beer in. And that will. Now, I know there's some products out there called Sluggo and stuff like that. I don't buy that kind of stuff because I'm organic. But the snail and the slugs will go into the yeast, water, and sugar, or a beer, the cheapest one you can find, or cheapest bottle of wine. Okay? All right. Okay, let's see if we got another question. Hi, Helena. Thank you for being here. She's speaking to everybody. And Tommy said, congratulations, who knew? The army cream is the truth. Yes, because somebody asked me, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, neuropathy. I think you get it like sleepiness, less sensitivity in your feet. I know it's a direct correlation with diabetes. And somebody was asking me, and I said, I don't know. Somebody try it. And I think it was Tommy's husband, if I'm mistaken. I hope I'm not mistaken, that tried it and it worked for him. Also, Lydia, she took the pain cream. I forgot where she went to visit her mother, and her brother-in-law pulled his knee muscle, and she had a pull muscle. And anyway, they all used it. They all liked it. She left her cream with her mother, ordered one for herself and one for her brother-in-law, if I'm not mistaken. I'm telling you, the pain cream is selling faster than the hair growth promoter. Thank you so much, Lioncrest. Thank you so much. Okay, Gardening with Bernie is speaking to Lioncrest. Very intelligent young man. I was in your live, you and my nephew, Broke Farmer. He's not really my nephew, but he's my YouTube nephew. And it was somebody else that night. Two other people, and you all really, really kept my attention. Okay, so now I'm going to, hey, Rob, Ession's Family Garden. Ession's is what I pronounce it. You have such a wonderful family. Thank you for being here, Rob. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Rob got an incredible property with a lot of space, man. And he's really doing it. Okay, somebody said something about their grapes. My grapes were infected with aphids last year. Do you recommend any preventative measures? Neem oil and water. As long as it's not too hot, Jay. Diatomaceous earth. If it's not raining, yeah, that should work. Okay, I'm going to stop and I'm going to give you all my special. You know, every Monday night I have a special with the products, a way to introduce you all to the products inexpensively. Okay, so here is my total body oil. You can use it on your hair, you can use it on locks, you can use it on your skin, you can put just a little bit in your bath water, and it's lightly scented with hibiscus, lemongrass, and lavender, so mosquitoes won't eat you up. It's $19.99 for 8 ounces. Then you guys are familiar with the hair milk. The hair milk is $12.99. It puts moisture in the hair. And then the hair growth promoter used to be the #1 product. It's only $12.99. And then the pain cream, it comes in a smaller size. You only need a little. Lydia and I recommend both that you use it 3 times a day. Just massage it in. If you have something on your face, avoid the eye area and wash your hands afterwards. Because you've got hemp oil, which is so expensive. Oil of wintergreen. You got a little turmeric. Of course, you know, you got shea butter. You know, you can read the ingredients. But anyway, this all comes to, let me see if I can find it. The regular price of all of these products, 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can go to the website. I've made a really good deal because it's normally, I think, like $60. And you would go to specials and gift sets on the website. And you can check there every Monday around the time that I'm going to go live. And I'll have a different special. Or if some people email me and tell me they want to get it, but they can't get it right now, but they can get it next week, I might run it twice. So the total value of all 4 of those products is $60.96. But you're getting it less than $50, $49.99. Again, it's the hair oil, the moisturizing hair milk, the hair growth promoter, and the pain cream. A wonderful way to introduce the products to your family. Okay, so I'll keep that on until I sell out of the pre-amounts that I already have. Usually I say midnight tomorrow night or midnight tonight. If you want to get it on a special, I urge you to buy it tonight. Because once it goes off, I'll take it out off the, once it sells out, I'll take it off. Okay? All right. Okay. Are there any more questions? Let's go back and see if I missed any questions. Yankee Sister says she's been watching the replays. Thank you so much. Lady Cheryl, say it like it is and how the Holy Spirit leads. Thank you. I love it when you do that. Thank you so much. Yeah, because sometimes I hesitate. I hesitate because I don't want to say nothing that offend anybody. I could not find her question. Yeah, we can't find Yankee sister. You need to go to the bottom and put it in. Okay, now somebody says something about chip drop. I got chip drop. And mine were... Hey, best yet, I didn't even know you were in here. Her husband was pruning something, and it hurt his knee, and he was pruning and hurt his knee. Okay, I don't know if you all know this, but YouTube changed the live format. It used to be horizontal. Now it's a little bitty box vertical here, and it's hard for me to get it. Gosh almighty. Yeah, thank you, Tia. I think the pain cream is going to be my #1 product. I really do. Because we gardeners, especially, and anybody that works outdoors and stuff, we lifting up bags of soil. It's a lot of work that we do. And we do it because we love it. I posted on my Facebook group, and anybody here, you're welcome to join it, but you must answer the 3 questions. And I posted on my Facebook group a picture of a little cartoon character, and it says something about, I need to be cleaning up my house, but I think I'll go out and work in the garden until I feel better. Something like that. I feel good when I go out there in the garden. I really do. I don't care how much I'm hurting or I'm sore or I'm tired. When I go out there and I just start working in the garden, I start picking up stuff that I'm not supposed to pick up, and So we need that little pain cream to kind of help us out. But we don't think we're gonna hurt ourselves because we enjoy what we do. Okay, so I'm trying to find that question. Okay, Helena Taylor said in all caps, I got this one. Is it too late or too hot to start Swiss chard? I think that's what she's saying, Swiss. It's got to be chard. Hey, I can grow Swiss chard in the shade all year long in Texas. And we get 115 degrees, between 100 to 115. And today, I told my Facebook group, I put a picture on it. I sauteed some Swiss chard. Usually, I cook it with cabbage. Man, make you slap your mama. It was so good. Okay. My friend, Miss Beverly, I always talk about her all the time. She buy me plants and stuff. I give Miss Beverly anything she want out of my garden. She brought me a ham from Aldi's. And I don't usually eat pork. Not that it's my religion or anything like that, but I know it has a lot of salt in it. The reason why I don't eat it for blood pressure and kidney disease. Well, she got a $15 ham for $3.32. I know exactly what it was because I was telling my sister about it. $3.32. So I cut it up, and I was going to can it. And I said, no, I'm going to cut it up, and I'm going to put it in a little snack size. That's about half the size of a baggie where you put a sandwich in. And I just cubed it up and put it in there. Then I boiled it. I boiled it with about a cup of water, let it come to boil, put it on simmer, turn down to the lowest setting on my gas stove, and let it drain to almost all of the salt was out. Then I rinsed it out. Then I got my Swiss chard, and I took the stems off, and I chopped it all up, and I put just a little bit of olive oil in there and stir-fried it. Man, it was good. It was really good. So I told my Facebook group, I'm going to plant some more Swiss chard because I just have a little bit planted because it gets kind of hot. But I do remember last year I had some Swiss chard that grew to look like a little tree. So I'm going through my seeds and I'm going to plant some Swiss chard. So it depends on where you are, Helena. If you are in zone or higher, you probably can grow it almost all year round. If you're in a lower zone, it's going to freeze off. So my advice to you is, if you're in a hot climate, start some anyway, but be mindful that you may have to put a shade cloth over it. Okay? All right. And I think she's saying turnips too. I wouldn't start any turnips right now, but I would do this with chard. Most people are harvesting turnips. I harvest my turnips in October. Okay. Do not like this format. Something to keep my seedlings from burning. 6A, Yankee Sister's talking about hardening off hers. What I did was, for the last 2 years, I hardened my seedlings off, and that means to acclimate them to the outside environment. The first thing I do is I put a fan on them. And this fan that you hear blowing in the background is one of the fans that I use. I'm going to turn that off because it's making my eyes run. I keep the fan on them to mimic wind. So by the time I put them outside, they're used to the wind. But instead of me putting them out in increments of 15 minutes in the sun so they don't go into shock, adding 15 minutes each day, bringing them back in, what I did this time was, last two spring, I put a 90% shade cloth over them. And each day, I would move the shade cloth back a little bit. And in fact, if you look at my videos and seed starting playlist, you'll see I put the shade cloth up in the greenhouse because that's where I took all of the seedlings and put them in the greenhouse. And I just started shading them. And then I would take the shade off a little bit. Then about 8 or 9, well, probably earlier than that because that was back in the 1st of March. So the time spring forward hadn't gone forward yet, so it would get dark quicker. But when I knew that the sun was going down, I would unclip the shade cloths. So I have to do that whole big acclimation. So if you want to try the shade cloths, I get 90% shade cloths on sale at Amazon. In fact, I got 2 right up under this dining room table that I bought more. And also I have a shade cloth for my greenhouse. Okay. All right, let's see if we get another question going here. Somebody said they like to eat the Swiss chard with scrambled eggs. A lot of people do with spinach. My late husband was diabetic, and he would eat scrambled eggs with any type of greens that we had because, you know, he had to get that in there. Okay. Tommy. No, that's hoeing and sowing. That's nice about the Swiss chard. She want to grow some over the summer. Yeah, I mean, you know, you get in a rut or you get in the habit of doing things, to cook the things the same way all the time. And something said, let me just cook this by itself. I really, really enjoyed it. Texas Tiny Garden said, I made you hit the table. Growing with Hudson, can shade cloths help keep my seedlings from burning? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Exactly. Okay, if there's another question, put it all the way down at the bottom, because best yet, just put my playlist up, and I'm going to go from what's under there. Because it's very hard. It's a window about that big that I can see. Unless it's something that I need to do to maximize it. Somebody wants to know, what fertilizer do you use on your strawberries? Nothing. Comfrey tea. That's it. And I use the banana, used coffee grounds, and eggshells. And Lioncrest eggshells will help with those slugs too. They don't want to crawl over those sharp edges of the eggshells. So you don't grind them up as fine when you're gonna put them wherever your slugs are. Yes, when you get the stuff right out of the garden, you get the real taste. That's what it was. And my daughter told me that she needed to plant her some because you don't hardly see Swiss chard in the grocery store or even Whole Foods. You might find some, at certain times of the year, but it doesn't have a long shelf life. So you don't see it in the grocery store that much. And you don't see it frozen. I've never seen frozen Swiss chard. But fresh right out that garden, you are right. Hoeing and sowing garden. She says she loves tasting raw things out of the garden. Yes, I can eat sweet peas. I can eat okra. It's not slimy. It's crunchy. Sat out there in my prayer garden and ate 2 pieces of okra this morning. Then it started raining. I had to run in. Okay, somebody's talking about their lettuce has gone to seed. When is a good time to harvest it? Before it goes to seed. Because once it goes to seed, it's bitter. It's bitter. So that's what I did Saturday. I made a little video for my Facebook group, and I talked about my lettuce getting ready to go to seed. You'll know because it starts presenting a stalk that goes up instead of out like this. And then it'll get bitter. So I cut off all the tops of them. Okay? Can you keep your strawberries from splitting? No, not if you're getting too much rain. But if you're not getting a lot of rain and your strawberries are splitting, that means that you're giving it too much water. But if you can't help it, somebody said something about do not eat Swiss chard. It's not raining affect the growth of your garden. Something's eating marigolds. I've never had anything to eat marigolds. Something eating marigolds. I've never had that. Never. I've had white flies to go inside of the marigolds to hide, and then they come out and get your other stuff. But I've never seen nothing eating my marigolds. I don't know. That's something you're going to maybe have to Google or go to Farmer's Almanac. In fact, I'm going to write it down. And you can email me. I'm going to email me and give you some questions, pictures, and what is the marigolds around. That may have something to do with it. Excuse me. Veggies with her eggs. Nice hot bowl of cream wheat. Oh, man, I love cream wheat too. I didn't know nobody still eat that. I eat cream of wheat. I eat cream of wheat. And my sister is on a keto diet, and she was telling me about this keto simple syrup. And she said she puts just a couple of drops on it, on her oatmeal. And then I ordered this one. And this one is the, I think you can see it. It's the French vanilla. I can't get that one. There we go. I ordered that one off of Amazon. And you're supposed to be able to put it in your coffee. I didn't like it. I still had to add me some coconut milk. I'm lactose intolerant, so I don't do the cream. I do non-dairy cream. But I didn't like the way that tastes at all. See, I told you I'll be messing up on here talking about stuff. I can't help it. Do you have a what can I do to make my melon sweet? I don't know. All I know is the type of melons that you can get that are already sweet. I don't know if you can do something to make them sweeter. I know, like they said, basil make tomato sweeter, and I've been telling you all I don't believe in some of that stuff. But I do know one sweet melon is Minnesota midget. That's a super sweet if you like a super sweet melon. And a super sweet watermelon is Sugar Baby. It's going to have a lot of seeds in it, but it's delicious. Somebody said that snails like marigold leaves. Very good. Thank you for doing that for us, Growing with Hudson. That can make sense because they may go in there and hide too. But after the rainy period is over and you start using diatomaceous earth, I don't have slugs. I only get the slugs in the spring of the year. I never see slugs when it's hot. You all tell me if you've seen that or not. I don't see it when it's hot. Chewed up my marigolds, they look like toothpick. Wow, marigolds in the ground, tomato plants, around the tomato plants. Okay. But then you know what you need to do, put your slug traps out. We are getting no rain in Georgia, and it's affecting the growth of our garden. Oh, wow. And we're getting all the rain in Texas, Louisiana. Okay. Okay, guys, I think that's all of the questions that it was one I was still looking for. If you would email me, sweetie, I will answer it. I think she's telling somebody to put it in all caps. Oh, shea butter is a natural sunscreen. Somebody's asking me, do I have a product that contains a natural sunscreen? Yeah, that would be the creamy body butter. Natural SPF of 30. Thank you for asking that question. So again, I want to tell you about the special. You're going to get the $19.99 oil, the $12.99 moisturizing hair milk, the hair growth promoter, and the pain cream, all for only $49.99. Okay, guys. If there aren't any more questions, I think I'm going to say goodnight to you, good, beautiful people. Truth, love, and life, joy. You can watch the replay. I'm sorry. Somebody said they harvested curly kale. I think you had worms in it. Yeah, you can put a little salt. You can put a little salt in your water. And that curly kale, they'll hide a little bit. But they don't like the regular kale better than they do the curly kale. But put a little salt in your water when you're washing them in your kitchen sink. And that'll get them little small worms out. Yeah, I gave a neighbor some kale. And I didn't know it had worms in it. And then when I went to go wash mine, I had to go back over there and tell them, I am so sorry. Put some salt in your water because I noticed worms in my kale. And they said, oh, no problem. Can't believe Georgia not getting any rain. Okay, so everybody's saying have a great week. Good night, everybody. You know I love you, and God loves you too. Grow your own, eat your own. It's not hard. You can do this, okay? Good night, everybody. I love you. Take care. Bye now.